In this third episode, I'm going to talk about arm trajectory or arm entry as your hand enters the water. And this goes hand in hand with 1 and 2, head position, also hand position. So when we look at the two common problems with triathletes, these two are pretty resounding. Number one is as the arm comes over the top of the water, a lot of people are taught to make their stroke long, reach way out, and they extend over the top of the water. And so if this is the water level, all of a sudden the elbow hits before the wrist joint line. So it kind of looks like that. Arm is completely extended. So now I have a really long stroke and it's real crummy. And I drop that elbow down like this. Another thing I use, I got an eyeball in my elbow. That eyeball should look out towards the side wall. So I never really want to overextend over the top of the water for the triathletes that are tight. For the best swimmers, yes, you can go to 180 degrees. For some of you, you're better off stopping at 170. Overreaching where the hand crosses over the midline. So we're trying to get this extension, but all of a sudden everything's pulling just as I described, and now the hand crosses over the midline, and I see a lot of times the thumb is lined up with the opposite ear, and that's a bad alignment because we get the same problems. We end up pressing straight down, puts a lot of stress on your deltoid and your bicep tendon, and so people say, gee, I've got shoulder problems, and it can be set up by either one of those two things. I'm going to add one more. The release on the recovery on this to set this up. You can have a high trajectory as you come up over the top of the water, and I'll cover this in a few more episodes. So as the arm comes over the top of the water, remember episode 2, fingers enter the water flat as they come into the water, I can be shy of that 180 degrees out here in front because now I'm setting myself up for a nice high elbow set, which really generates the power on the front end. Let's get in the water and I'll show you a few tips to master these skills. Arm trajectory sounds kind of fancy, but the simplicity of the entry is that two things that can generally happen. We can get a crossover where we're overreaching, the hand comes over to the opposite side in line with your ear, or we can overextend too far over the top of the water trying to get distance per stroke. And they both can cause a whole issue of problems, the main one being your elbow dropping on that entry. So we want to try to find that sweet spot, and I found with a lot of the triathletes, and particularly men, we need to go a little bit wider on the entry. We don't have the mobility in our upper back and our shoulders, also our thoracic spine, so moving your hands out a little bit wider on the entry will allow you to get a nice high elbow set. So experiment with the width of the entry, straight ahead with your hands, and you'll have a perfect trajectory.